I wanted to make this because this I just started I just finished the third part of Flash Armageddon, and I know I'm very late to the game because it's been a while. I haven't watched the Flash really too heavily, mainly because it's just been really bad. Um, you guys know that I'm a huge fan of the Flash. Hell, there's that thing. I have a whole bunch of things. I'm the most biggest fan of Flash, and when the show first premiered, I loved it, and I loved seasons all the way up to like 5, and then 6 and 7 came, and it was just like the writing started to take a turn down and down and down, and it's now to a point where it's just like I've always criticized it on like my Instagram and stuff like that, but I just can't hold back anymore. It's so bad. It is so terrible that I just cannot like fathom who wrote this. I'm just like, who wrote this? Who wrote it? Because they clearly did not watch The Flash. They clearly did not watch any previous episodes. They didn't watch of like how he solved problems in the past. And I know I'm still on episode 3, so I still haven't finished it. So by no means I should be, talking without fully watching it. But whew, it's so bad. It's so hard to watch. It's so cringy. It's cringy. It's a mess with the direction that they chose to take with these characters that we've known for years. And apparently they're just like now up and changing of, their personality, like just random things that they're doing that you wouldn't think that somebody would do. It just doesn't make any sense. You can't fathom it. Like for example, I was watching in one of the parts, Cecile Horton, and there's going to be spoilers. So who anyone who hasn't seen Flash Armageddon, um, I recommend you to not watch it if you don't want to bleach your eyes out if you're a huge fan of the Flash. But by all means, if you still don't want to be spoiled, make sure you go and watch it. It's a mess, but if you want to watch it and you want to see your characters, just your favorite characters, just up and rooted and just changed, by all means, go watch it. But it is a mess. It is so bad. Um, in one of the parts, Cecile Horton, apparently Joe's dies in the most stupidest way. By the way, a train. Yeah, that's just what just the entire thing is just dumb because one, it happens off screen, kind of like they show you what happens, but it's just so weird that he's been dead. And like they say it like they've been kind of like hinting at it like throughout the parts and like the first episode, but it's just so dumb because it's just like, why would you kill like one of the most major characters in this kind of way and then like keep it a secret in that way? Why not start with Joe's death, like as like a front, like the first thing that happened, and then like Barry kind of forgets about it throughout, kind of like a Mandela effect. But for some reason they chose to go like a whole different approach and just do something just downright dumb. Um, because it doesn't serve justice to Joe's character. We've known him since the beginning. He's been around since the beginning. So I just don't think that the way they handled his death was very dumb and very stupid. And I honestly don't even know if they brought him back or not. Like I said, I haven't finished it. Might do another video at the end of it to really say some more words about it. But just by the writing in this little first part of season 8 with the Armageddon story, I can already see that the writing is just going way more down than it was before. Like, I was already deterred when in season 7 they started doing lightsaber battles and just like outright stupid things, like the whole forces being apparently kids to Flash. I was just like, what? I'm like, what is happening? I'm like losing brain cells trying to comprehend who came up with this writing because it just doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't. Um, but Cecile, she has like a moment to like Iris has like literal proof. She literally shows her like camera evidence that 1 minute Joe is there on the train tracks. Next thing you know, he's gone before the train hits him. And for some reason, she's just like so in disbelief. And it's like her eyes, for some reason, I don't know whether it's just maybe her mental health, maybe something like that. Maybe it's like what happened when Barry was trapped away in the Speed Force. Remember how Iris started to act where like, they could have found a way to bring Barry back, but for some reason Iris just wasn't having any of it. Like she just for some reason couldn't think it was possible. And it was just so stupid because it was just like she's just not trying. She has a chance, but for some reason she's just not trying. She's just trying to move on, and it just through even when that happened during that season where Barry was like coming back from the Speed Force and all that, I still thought that that was dumb. Like if your husband is like, let's say, taken into the Speed Force or whatever, or dead, and like there's a chance that he is like alive still, why would you like why would you not take the chance on that? Like why would you not try to do everything in your power to not second guess that and try to figure out a way of whether it what happened is true? It just doesn't make any sense to me. I get it, grief and all that stuff, but even grief would like, it just doesn't make sense. Like I know it'd be like kind of like a thing in your head where it's just like, okay, you can't believe it because you've already spent this much time trying to move forward. You don't want to move back in case it's like a false thing, but even then it's just so stupid. It's dumb. It's bad writing, and I'd say one of the more mistakes, the more crucial mistakes that were taken were in one of the episodes of Armageddon. Barry is apparently going insane. And I say that with quote because it's dumb. He's not insane. Like literally the dude is like comprehending things and he knows what he's doing. Like for some reason they just make him act like emotionally out, and it just seems so weird. It's like it's like it's so weird because it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Who wrote this? Who wrote it? I want to know so I can sue them because it's just like I need them to resign from their job. They wrote the first draft of this and then they just gave it the okay, and it's just like nobody thought to revise this. Nobody thought to go back and hey, let me think about this. Let me see. Let me re-edit this because this is like a first draft right here. The writing, even with just the first 3 episodes. So, for example, Barry has to go up with against one of these villains who has uh, telekinesis, and she can like control people's psyche. She can make them like go crazy and stuff. Um, and here's the thing: Barry has already fought people with those kind of abilities, and the way how they handle Barry, it's like they completely, and the rest of the crew, it's like they never handled this situation before. I mean, did they just forget about Grodd? Did they just forget about the thing that like not the crown, but like they invented the machine that blocks out psychic connections and trying to take over people's minds, like Grodd, when Grodd would try to take over Barry's mind and stuff like that. And you're telling me that nobody just nobody's remembering this, just like, oh, okay, Barry's just gonna sit there and take it because apparently nobody remembers that they invented something to block out psychic energy from entering in your own head. And it's just like what? Who made this? It's so stupid, so dumb. And then there's all these other little plot, like all these little other character lines and plot arcs that are happening all at once. It's just making too much at once. It's if Me, the viewer, is having a hard time trying to keep up with just Barry's story. This is the Flash. Yes, Cecile, all those other storylines are important, but they shouldn't drown out the main issue of it's the Flash. Half the time, I'm barely seeing Barry on screen during this. It's a lot of the time just Iris and them trying to figure out where Barry is, trying to do this, trying to do that, and it's just like, and then like Esperanza going through her own little arc, freaking Ray Palmer having his own little arc about trying to figure out what he is, and it's just like, it's too much. You need to condense that shit down. Nobody wants to sit there watching this. Nobody wants to sit there to watch that. They came to watch The Flash. And it's just like, yes, you can have these outside characters and their plots, but they have to go on with their own kind of way. It shouldn't drown out The Flash itself. And it's been a problem since they started adding more characters. I started to see that when even way back when, like, during the Central City time, and like with Black Hole organization and all that stuff, like there was just too many characters going on at once, and it was just too much, and everything was kind of a mesh. And now when you watch The Flash, it's always just a mess. You don't Every time you watch The Flash now, it's like you're getting all these other little stories, but you're never getting Barry's story anymore. You're never getting Barry's story, his change. You are getting it, but you're getting it in such a condensed version that it just doesn't take the spotlight anymore, and it's not the Flash. It's about all these other people surrounded by the Flash, and it just doesn't make sense. If you think back to like season 1, 2, and 3, they were amazing. They focused on the Flash, they dealt with problems that the Flash has faced before, and they dealt with a lot of internal problems that he had with his parents and trying not to lose his parents. And then there was the season where he actually like went back in time and saved his mom and all that stuff, and the ramifications and what happened with that. And it's just like, it's so much better than what we have now. By no means is the writing perfect through season 1 through 3, but it's a lot better than we're getting now, because now it's just all a disarray. It's too much. We're getting too many storylines, and it's just focusing on way too much. To watch Armageddon, it's like they rely on you to suspend your disbelief that this could happen. It's you have to suspend your disbelief to apparently not remember the fact that Barry and the team have created something that can block out psychic energy from affecting Barry. And you also have to suspend your disbelief that Barry is just somehow going insane. And it's just like it's so confusing, like, because with season 3, a lot of the time, like, the whole point of Armageddon is that Barry is going to cause the world to destroy. He's going to turn evil or something like that, or he's going to go insane. But in season 3, he became Savitar. We saw what would happen if he became evil, like if he turned to the bad side, like what would happen with Iris and all that stuff. And it's just like, you're just supposed to believe that apparently he can just go back and do that, and like go and be evil. But it just doesn't make any sense, because it's just like, you would think they would have, like, and especially with all the episodes, they've had so many episodes where Barry has turned evil. I mean, even in the recent episodes where, Ramsey, and he used his blood to turn him evil for a time. Barry has always like fought against that, and like now it's just like one of these situations where, again, they're making you suspend your disbelief and making you think that he can turn evil again, when the show has proven many times before that he just possibly couldn't do that. And his friends, and it's just like they dumb down his team too, because it's just like his team is also just believing like, oh hey, he might be evil, because, but they know, it's like Barry has to keep reminding them like that, hey, he's been mind controlled by somebody. and it's just like they don't know what to do, and it's so confusing because it's just like we've been in this situation before. Why isn't anybody doing something smart about it? But apparently it's like the last couple of years, it's like they don't remember shit. It's like they don't remember anything. It's so sad to watch. It's like somebody had brainwashed them or something to just forget every villain that they faced. It's so terrible. It's so bad. Like, and it follows the same trope that a lot of the other episodes of The Flash do. You know, he faces up a villain, and that villain he can't actually get that villain on the first try, so then he has to go back, do some kind of team support reunion, some weird, recruitment camp, or I don't know, needs a lift up from his team, and then goes and attempt again, and then he gets it. And it's just like it's a trope that's been overdone, and I think that it's just kind of just we already know that like the Flash is capable to handle himself. We already know that the Flash has pretty much handled a lot of the situations, and a lot of the similar situations that are happening in Armageddon. So it's just hard to suspend our disbelief that any of this is just good writing, because it's not. Like, uh, uh, like it's so bad because of that. You know, it's like you have to forget all the other episodes. It's like whenever the new writers took over the Flash, it's like all the other episodes, all the other seasons, they don't matter anymore. They're just not history anymore. Now it's about the new start. And it's like you have to watch Flash as like it's been rebooted, because like it's just like if you remember the past, it just confuses you and makes you angry of where they're taking this show. It's so bad. The writing is so bad that like I've had to stop and pause the Armageddon so many times, because I'm just like, who wrote this? It's so cringy. I'm like cringing over here. And the Flash has always been cheesy. I know that. The Flash has always had like cheesy moments, but it's always cheesy now. Like there's always so many cheesy moments of family, and like trying to lift up somebody's spirits, and it's just like, Jesus, don't aren't any of these people capable of doing their job without having like a pep talk for like 5 minutes? It's like, what? Come on, you don't need a. You've been doing this for years, and you still need a pep talk. Like it's sad. The story by all means is so far, because like I said, I've only watched up to episode 3 or part 3, and I still haven't even finished part 3. I'm on like 36 minutes and 17 seconds, so it's right around the time that the Flash is fighting the other dude who has like lightning powers. I forget his name. Um, he was in the Crisis episodes, but it's just like he's fighting this dude, but it's like you can tell he's complete in state of mind. Like the Flash is not losing his mind whatsoever. He looks like he's himself, but it's like it's so bad. And by no means do I blame the actors. They're just doing their part. They're just doing what they can do. If they had better material, I guarantee you they would rock this stuff. They would do way better. But unfortunately, this isn't an actor's problem. This is just a problem with the writing. It's just so bad, and the actors are just trying to do the best they can with what they got, and I get that. But it's just like, seriously, whoever's writing these, just at this point, I'm okay with season 8 being the end of The Flash. I want it to be the end of The Flash. If The Flash doesn't end on season 8, then I guarantee you I will not be there for season 9, because I'm just done. I've watched this show growing up. I love this show. Seasons 1 through 3 were my favorite seasons. Season 5 was really, really good too. Season 6 was starting to be like, okay, this is starting to be like really kind of like annoying now, where like the writing steps are going, like there are some kind of annoyances, but I'm still tolerating it. But now it's just like season 7, I couldn't even handle it. I was just like, okay, this is so bad that I had to watch it in parts. I had to watch season 7 in parts and take a break, go watch something else, and then come back because it was just so bad. And like, it just got progressively worse. I just couldn't handle it. So I had to take like breaks in between to fully watch season 7. And then when I finished season 7, I was just like, what in the world was that ending? What in stupidity wrote this? Who wrote this? And I'm just like, they need to go back. They need, this is like a first draft again. It's like they're writing in first drafts over there because they just really want the money. Maybe they're just, and it's sad because it's gotten to a point where the Flash is kind of like a hurt animal, and it's just like nobody's putting it out of its misery. It's just like it's just like it's so sad. Honestly, if it doesn't end on season 8, then, and the viewership has tanked very 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 low for the Flash. Like, and it's because of the bad writing. We started seeing drops more and more in viewerships because of the writing. And by no means that I wanted the viewership to end, because I wanted the show to continue. But if this is where the show is continuing towards, then quite frankly, I'm okay if the show ends. I want the show to end because the last thing I want them to do is write for the sake of writing. The last thing I want them to do is continue the show for the sake of just continuing the show, you know? And by no means do they need to kill him off like the Arrow. I think that they just need to end the Flash in a way where he's alive and he has his kids and happily ever after. That's it. Leave it open ended. Leave it open ended. Leave it where he's still a character. He comes in for the crossovers every once in a while, but he's not doing any more shows. He's doing his own little things over in Central City. He has his own little, he's doing, like, we'll hear references every once in a while from other superhero shows, like, oh, the Flash captured this guy. He's doing good, all that stuff. But quite frankly, I just don't want any more Flash. I don't, because if the writing is this bad, they're just tanking it down more. It's like the show is suffering. It's suffering, and it's like nobody's doing the right thing and putting it down, because it's continuing for the sake of continuing. At this point, they probably have wasted so much money on the show that they're not recuperating that money back. I guarantee it. They're probably not recuperating that money back because the viewership is just tanked so low. And with the writing, it's so bad that you just can't do it. You can't watch it without cringing. You can't watch it without with a straight face and be like, okay, this is exactly where I wanted the Flash to be in the next couple of years. Like, no, it's just so bad. They obviously had started running out of ideas with the Flash right towards season 6. Like, you can tell they're just starting to run out of ideas of what to do, so they started changing it up and adding more characters, and it's just like it was just too much. Now there's too many characters, and the Flash used to be very centralized around the group and all that, but it's just like now it's just too all over the place. And it's continuing for the sake of continuing at this point, and it's just its own little self-destruction now. It's sad. um at this point, I'm worried for the sake of the writers. They might have to go to rehab or something, because it's just like it's bad. It's bad. It's real bad. And I am so, I'm angry at the fact that at this point the Flash hasn't ended, because it's just like I want it to end. I am tired, and the more I watch videos, I watch more and more people destroy it, just absolute destroy, and pick apart all these seasons and stuff. And as a person who loves the Flash, I don't like seeing that. I don't. And at the same time, I understand why they have to do it, because they're critics. They want to put their opinion out there, and their opinions and stuff like that aren't false whatsoever. It is true. The Flash has tanked. There has been a lot of problems with it for a long while, but at this point, it's gotten to a point where the writers are at this point are at their own fault. They cannot blame that the critics are being too harsh, or they can't blame other people that are being too harsh on their writing, and being too harsh and all this stuff like that. No, 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 no. They can't blame it on them, because in truth, if your viewership is going down because of your writing, then that is your own problem, because you're not taking these advices. Because there have been a lot of advice from other YouTubers who have given good advice to the writers, given good story plots that they can go off of that are part of the comics, but they just don't want to follow it. Um, and quite frankly, I just want the show to end. I want somebody to put it out of its misery. It's sad that I have to sit here and say that, because I love the Flash. I want to see it continue. I want to see it continue from a good place, though. I want to see it evolve to a different type of show, maybe have more going on with it besides the formula that we've seen for a while. But now it's too broken. It's so cringy, and quite frankly, I just don't want to see it anymore. I don't want to see more and more self-destruction. The more episodes they put out, the more they keep trying to make a reason to why this superhero needs to be still having show an episode, and to justify you watching those episodes when it's just a lot of the time the same content that you've got before. It's just like, it just doesn't make it seem like as a reasonable thing. You just don't really see it as a reason, you know. Um, Quite frankly, I just want the Flash to end. I just think they're self-destructing themselves, and they're causing more and more of a problem the more they keep trying to do the Flash, and they just keep ruining a hero at this point. They just keep ruining their own show. Um, so I feel like the Flash should end, and like I said, it should be like a happy ending. It should end with. I thought back then, when things were kind of happening, I thought that the series should have ended with Barry and Iris figuring out that they're pregnant, and that they're having Bart and Nora. And I don't know if that's going to be possible today, because quite frankly, I've already forgotten season 6 through 7, 6 and 7. That's how bad the writing is. If your writing is so bad that I, as a person, forget what happened, then quite frankly, you have to look back and start revising at things, because I remember seasons 1 through 3, and like I remember those like on the dime. I can pull those information up. I've rewatched it so many times because I loved them. I loved seasons 1 through 3. But I can't remember anything past that, because the writing has just gotten so much worse, and it's just like my mind, maybe it just doesn't want to remember it. Maybe it's just nothing I have tied to it, because nothing really like different has shown. But as far as I'm aware, the show needs to end. They're crippling the show more and more, and they need to end it, but don't kill off the Flash. Um, don't do what Arrow did. Don't make it where it's like a passing of the torch. Just end it. Leave it open ended. Leave it to maybe to where he can come back in like a future thing. You know, um, make him come back for like crossover events and stuff like that. And there's like references of him like in other shows that he's still around, because it is all one Earth now, so there's no reason to why he can't be referenced every once in a while. But at this point, just end it, because it's just tanking the show more and more. And it's honestly, at this point, it's just like, I think even more and more fans are starting to agree with the assessment that the show just needs to end, and that the show has gone nowhere for the last couple of years, and for these last couple of seasons. Like, they haven't really done anything revolutionary. They haven't really done anything that is like as good on a level as seasons 1 through 3. And quite frankly, they're just picking apart at it more and more, and it's just not worth it. um Don't self-destruct the show even more. Give it a possibility to come back in a better way when some more writers can find a use to bring it back and a way to bring it back that is different. Somebody who has like a different take of how to write for the Flash. Because you know we need something new with the Flash. That's obvious because quite frankly, we just don't have the stuff going on right now to feel like anything is new. Everything just still feels the same. And even worse so, all the storylines in the seasons, like the way have they broken down these last couple of seasons were like, excuse me, sorry. The way how they've broken down these seasons lately is where it's like the start of the episode, you realize the one of the main villains, and then halfway through the season, that villain is going to be killed off or captured or whatever. So it's like you get like episodes 1 through like 10, or like half of whatever the season number is going to be. It's going to be trying to get that main villain, and the next thing you know, there's another main villain coming up, and it's just like it's too much to do in the span of one single season. So they're rushing a lot of things. They're rushing a lot of arcs and character arcs, and they're rushing so much that they're trying to cram everything into so many episodes, and it's causing the Game of Thrones problem. We all know what happened with Game of Thrones. They they wanted to do everything within less episodes for the season, and the more they just kind of crammed into it, it just kind of started to implode and self-destruct on itself. And now, like, not a lot of people even like season 7 and 8 of Game of Thrones. And I quite frankly kind of agree with it. Kind of. I'm okay with the way how it ended, but there's some ways. But that's off topic. Either way, it's having the Game of Thrones problem because they're trying to cram way too much into one season, um, into an individual season, and it's causing too much confusion. Like nowadays, it's like I can't even remember like which season was Ramsey in. Like, was he in 6 or was he in 7? Like, I can't even tell because it's just like they tried to cram it all on into half of a season, and it's just like there's also the Mirror Girl season, and it's just like it's too much. Stop condensing them, and quite frankly, just let the show move on. Just allow the show to end, leave it open ended. Maybe take a couple years off of it, write something else for a while, come back, approach it from a different angle, different way. Just take some time because I think that everybody just kind of needs some time away from the Flash, and I think the writers themselves need to. They're writing so terribly at this point, and it's for the sake of writing, and a lot of the time, it's just self-destructing what was already set. Um, a lot of the nowadays, it's just like they can't even remember the stuff that they've done in the past. It's sad, you know. Barry should have known. Hey, instead of being able to like, Barry wanted to get rid of his powers like permanently during the Armageddon thing, and I was just like, okay, you don't need to get rid of your powers. All you need to do is lock them up in a metacell. Like, did those just like disappear? Are just those are not a thing anymore? They could just like put a metacuff on him. That's it. End of the speed problem. But apparently it's just like the metacuffs don't exist. But apparently they still do because they captured one of the villains during the Armageddon thing. It's just like, what? Oh, yo. I can't take it. I don't think a lot of the fans can take it. And I think it's just one of those things where it just needs to be left. It just needs to be left alone for a while. It needs to end and then come back in a better light. Take a couple years off of it. Rework the formula and just kind of leave him open-ended, having his own little thing, and You know, people will reference him, people will talk about him in other superhero shows, but just let it die for a while. Let it end for a while. Have an intermission because and rework the formula because right now the way how it's going, it's so bad that I don't think a lot of people are even tuning in anymore and can bear to watch. I couldn't even barely watch, especially with season 7 and now with Armageddon. And I'm going to finish Armageddon and probably going to do another video like this after I watch it, but like it'll take me some times because I had to pause during the Armageddon thing because I'm just like, what is this cringy mess, and why do they, like, for some reason have gaps in their memories of what they've done to villains who have the same powers but for some reason don't know how to handle the situation. It's a mess. Like I said, it's a mess. But um I hope CW sees this one time because they really do need a break. They need a break from the Flash. They need to take a long break from the Flash, leave it open ended, end the show for a while, and come back with a new revised way of a formula because the formula that's working right now, it's just not working, and it's only self destructing the Flash, and it's just you're taking the show down a worse and worse path the more you keep thinking that the formula eventually will stick and people will like what you're writing. They won't, and you're not writing anything good. I know that's harsh, but it's the truth. I don't think anybody could not agree with it. It's I don't think anyone could not agree with it because I've spoke to a lot of people and they just don't like the writing either. They don't like the way how the show's been taking and the formula that has been happening. They don't like the weird plot holes and forgotten memories of like why the hell like did they just forget that they did this before in the past or that they faced this same situation before. It's just like it's like they don't remember. And people have always been like frustrated with that with Barry and frustrated with the fact that he's always had to like have a pep talk or something or even just the other people, and it's just like revise the formula, please. Take a break, leave it open ended, have him referenced, work on another show, work on Supergirl, work on any other show to try to lift it up, and just take a break because my goodness, the Flash needs to, or leave it ended. Just leave it ended, but leave it in a happy ending because I don't want Flash to die, like literal death in the show. Not every show needs to end with the character's death, and I think it would be stupid if you do that because the Arrow was supposed to die and apparently now his like daughter is like taking over, and it's dumb because it's just like the show was supposed to end. It's done. There's no more. Just stop. It's like maybe CW has like this crippling fate that for some reason they just won't leave something to end. And for some reason, maybe when they do decide, it's like the person needs to die. It's just no, people don't need to die for a show to end. But find a way to end it and find a way to end it without the Flash dying. Keep him alive, keep him around in the universe, but just let the show end because it just doesn't need any more episodes. At this point, we're rewatching the same stuff we've watched already in the past, and we're rewatching it from a perspective where we know the past episodes. And so it's just hard to suspend our disbelief that any of this stuff could happen and that Barry just for some reason has forgotten what to do about these situations, and it's just dumb. It's just dumb to continue it. I think as like people who have been the fans of the Flash, I think we're kind of all getting really tired of this kind of situation happening, and it's just like maybe the writers just think that we're stupid or something. Maybe they just for some reason, maybe it's been so long, maybe we've forgotten that they've done things. I don't know, but it needs to end, and they need to take a long break and rework the formula because it's just a mess. It is a huge mess. But if you agree, let me know. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about Armageddon? I might do another video or another live stream based on it once I finish it. Maybe like once I'm done with all the episodes that are out currently for The Flash. Maybe I will do another like live stream or something about it. But I had to vocalize it because it's just like I'm tired of seeing one of my favorite shows kind of like having this crippling death, and it's just slowly dying, and nobody's putting it out of its misery. It's just it has no reason to be around anymore. At least for a while, if it's the same formula, rework it or something. But it's just they haven't done anything to improve upon it, and so at this point, it's just reused content, and it's just like they haven't done anything for the people who have known the Flash as long as we known it, and it's suffering. The show is suffering, and I think that it just needs a break in order to allow time to rework the formula and fix it. And it needs a whole bunch of new writers. But let me know what you guys think about Armageddon, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.